You know the feeling, right? You keep ending up in the exact same kind of situation. Maybe it's a different person, a different job, a different city, but somehow it's always the same emotional chaos. And you're left thinking, why does this always happen to me? It just feels like you've got the worst luck in the world.
But let's ask a really uncomfortable question for a second. What if all these toxic situations you keep finding yourself in, what if they aren't just happening to you? What if, on some deep, subconscious level, they're happening because of you?
Now, I know that sounds harsh, and trust me, this is not about blame. Not at all. It's about a fundamental pattern in our wiring that is so easy to miss. And here's the core of it. We don't actually choose what's best for us. Nope, we choose what feels familiar.
So how on earth does that work?
Well, it all starts with something we could call a familiarity addiction. It's all about why your brain is actually wired to pick predictability, even if that means picking chaos over genuine peace.
The science behind this is a process called neuroception. Think of it like a security guard for your nervous system that's always on duty. It's constantly and completely subconsciously scanning your world, asking one simple question: is this familiar? And here's the wild part. Your brain automatically labels familiar as safe, even when it's objectively terrible for you. A threat that it recognizes actually feels safer than a peaceful situation it's never seen before.
And this is exactly how we end up mislabeling our own feelings. Let's say you grew up in a home where love felt kind of unpredictable, maybe even chaotic. Well, as an adult, you're going to misinterpret that same feeling of high-stress friction as chemistry or a spark. You'll call it passion. But what you're actually feeling, it's just recognition, it's predictability, it's a pattern. Your nervous system is basically just saying, hey, I've been here before, I know the rules to this game, I know how to survive this.
It really all comes down to this. You don't fall for what's healthy. You fall for what feels like home, even if home hurts. It has nothing to do with what's good for you now. It's all about what your nervous system was trained on years and years ago, long before you could even question it.
Okay, but that's just one piece of the puzzle. Let's go a layer deeper, because there's something else going on right under the surface. Your mind doesn't just remember your past, it's actively trying to fix it. We're talking about the unfinished story.
In psychology, they have a name for this. It's called repetition compulsion. It's this incredibly powerful, totally unconscious drive to go right back to the scene of the crime, so to speak, back to a painful event or a difficult relationship, and replay it, hoping that this time you can finally get it right, that you can master it or fix it or win.
And you see this pattern play out everywhere. You know, if you had a really controlling parent, you might find yourself constantly drawn to controlling partners. If you felt emotionally abandoned as a kid, you might keep choosing friends who are, you guessed it, emotionally unavailable. Or if you grew up just feeling totally unseen, you might become an overgiver, trying to prove your worth to people who will just never see you. On the surface, it just looks like you have bad luck. But really, your subconscious is just trying to heal a very old wound.
It's all about trying to solve a childhood problem inside your adult relationships. Your subconscious thinks, this time I'll make them see me. This time I'll earn their love. The problem is, you're playing the exact same script, you've just cast different characters in the roles.
And all of this leads us to the most backward, counterintuitive part of this whole cycle. When people who are used to chaos finally find something truly stable and peaceful, they often burn it to the ground. It's almost like having an allergy to peace.
So think about it. How it should feel is calm, safe, peaceful. Sounds great, right? But for a nervous system that's been wired for chaos, how it actually feels is boring, unfamiliar, or even worse, it feels like the quiet before the storm. That calm feeling just makes you anxious because in your experience, peace is just the thing that happens before everything goes wrong.
So what do? Without even realizing it, you start to manufacture the chaos yourself. You overthink tiny little things until they become huge problems. You start questioning a perfectly good relationship. You pull away emotionally. Or you pick fights when things are totally fine just to create that little hit of drama that feels so, well, normal.
And then, when it all falls apart, you look around at the wreckage and you think, see, I knew it. I knew it was too good to be true. I knew it wouldn't last. But the really sobering truth is, you were the one holding the match.
Okay, so if this is all feeling a little too real, what do you actually do about it? How do you break this cycle? This is the moment we stop being a passenger in our own lives and we get in the driver's seat.
The very first move sounds so small, but I promise you it changes everything. You have to stop calling it bad luck. The second you can honestly admit to yourself, okay, I am drawn to this pattern, I'm not just a victim of it, that's when you take your power back. And that means you have to fundamentally change the question you've been asking. You have to stop asking, why does this keep happening to me? And instead, you start asking, why does this feel so familiar to me? That question changes the entire game.
You can start with a really simple 3-step process. Number 1, reframe that question just like we said. Number 2, the next time you find yourself in a calm, healthy situation, just notice the discomfort that comes up, because it will. And number 3, practice staying. Don't bolt, don't sabotage it, just stay.
And listen, this is the most important part to remember. When something genuinely healthy shows up in your life and it feels uncomfortable or boring or weird, that discomfort is not a red flag. It's not a sign to leave. It is the sign that you are finally stepping outside of your toxic pattern. That feeling is the feeling of change. Look, you were shaped by chaos you didn't choose. That's true. Your nervous system did what it had to do to survive in a storm. But you are not required to keep choosing that storm now that you can see it for what it is. If anything in this felt uncomfortably true for you, that's not a bad thing. That feeling is called recognition. And recognition, my friends, is where all real change begins.
If you want to understand more about these hidden patterns that drive our choices, and more importantly, how to break them for good, make sure you subscribe so we can go deeper together.
So I'll leave you with this. The next time you feel that intense magnetic pull toward a person or a situation, just pause for 1 second and ask yourself this one thing. Is this healthy, or is this just familiar? Answering that question honestly might just save you from repeating the same old story all over again.